Hey guys, it's Lola here, and today we're going to be starting this brand new sketchbook, although technically I already started it for a video, but now that we finished my other sketchbook, which I posted a tour of recently, we are officially starting this one. So this is the arrtx yada yada A4 green sketchbook. I don't know, it has like some big long title on the website, and this got sent to me along with some acrylic markers. But I just don't love this green cover. It's just like Shrek green, and I just need something here. So since these acrylic markers should be able to work on any surface, we're going to use them to put a design here. And I have it in my head for some reason that I really want to draw a lobster. That probably feels very random, I'm not sure why. I think maybe it's because I've been watching lots of Youngblood lately. If you don't know Youngblood, he's this crazy Australian guy who just owns a boat and then just goes around and like hunts fish in these gorgeous blue Australian waters off these islands. And I don't know how he's not dead yet, to be honest, because he's always in his videos like, oh look, that's a really poisonous snake, one of the most poisonous snakes in the world, let's go take a look at it. And then it starts swimming after him and he's like, oh, like running away laughing. He hunts a lot of lobsters, so I guess that's given me a newfound appreciation for lobsters. They're pretty cool. They swim so fast and they make noise, which I never knew before I watched his videos. But then also this other artist that I watch on YouTube called Emerald Art made a sea creature drawing episode recently, and so did Caroline Art. She drew crabs, so I was like, this is it, this is my sign from the universe that I should draw a lobster on this front page. So the first step that I took was to create a Pinterest board called Lobster to find some lobster inspiration, and you might notice that there are more animals than just lobsters on this Pinterest board, and that's not because I'm confused about what a lobster is, it's just that I kept seeing all of these really cool colourful crabs and shrimp and fish while I was scrolling, and I was like, well, I have to save these and hoard them somewhere for me to draw later. So they all just went straight into the lobster board. And then the next thing that you'll see me on screen doing is that I basically did like a sketchbook page of all of these different sea creatures that I found in preparation for me drawing the lobster on the front cover. This is basically like my Naruto training arc, where I did a page of sea creatures to prepare for the lobster and warm up, because art is so much better if you warm up. And I basically wanted to make my lobster kind of Delulu, like I wanted there to be colours on the lobster that are just not there. I wanted it to be super colourful, super vibrant, rainbow, just really a eye bleed looking kind of thing, like colours everywhere. So basically what I wanted to do was just get a little bit of practice of like being Delulu and looking at all of these sea creatures and just hallucinating colours that aren't there while I draw. Like I could just see a little hint of blue and just make it like the colour blue. So trying to take the colours from the reference and just turn them up and make it more vibrant looking, more saturated, more colour. And so I basically wanted to get some practice of drawing some sea creatures and just seeing how far I could take this. So I started off with this shrimp and I was trying to do it orangey but then add little accents of other colours into the highlights and things and just start playing around with it being more colourful. And then with the next thing I draw, you'll see that I do this more again and then more again, and then by the time we get to the lobster in the bottom right, which is the fourth thing I drew on this page, I was very in the groove of this colour craziness. So by the time you get to the lobster, you'll see that that one is super colourful, but I just needed to warm up to get there. So the next thing that I drew is a nautilus. I love these creatures, they're so goofy looking and so ancient, which is really fascinating. So the Nautilus is around 500 million years old. Basically, that means that the species itself has remained pretty unchanged over a period of 500 million years. They've not really evolved much. They've just had this exact same body structure pretty much. And mind-blowingly, Nautilus are, well, first of all, they're older than the dinosaurs, but they're also older than sharks. Sharks are another thing that's been around for so long. So sharks are 450 million years old. That's when they first appeared in the fossil records. Nautilus are 50 million years older, and sharks are older than trees. So Nautilus are older than trees, older than sharks, older than the dinosaurs. It's just crazy. So anyway, when drawing the Nautilus, my general plan was I started by defining those basic shapes, then I added the shading on top, which is really good with acrylic markers because you can just lay them up, so I added the highlights on top as well. And then finally, after I'd got those basic blocks down, I went in with the fine point grabby marker pens for dots and details and outlines, and I really love these grabby markers. So yeah, I'm not just using the arrtx Simtap in this video, I'm also using those fine point grabby and the 72 color dual brush tip set, just in case you were wondering, and I'll link everything I use in the description as well in case anyone is curious. Anyway, while I draw this crab, I just want to actually take a moment to rant in this video, so it's like a bit of a mid-video rant about something that happened while I was drawing this crab, which is that my phone just decided to shut down and die. So if you notice like a big jump in any of these clips where stuff wasn't filmed, that's why. But is it just me, or did phone batteries get worse over the last few years? Which makes no sense because surely they should be constantly improving, but I think the more they improve them, they increase the processing power and then the battery just can't keep up. But my phone battery makes it so difficult to film these traditional art videos. So if you're someone who films your art for social media and you've ever looked into a camera, you'll know that good ones are hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and I'm personally a big advocate for not letting being poor stop you from doing YouTube. So I just film using the phone in my pocket. But this latest phone that I've had for a couple of years now, the Google Pixel 6, honestly the battery has always been terrible and it just has gotten worse and worse. If you use my phone, if you're sat actually using it for about 20 minutes, in that time you'll sit and you'll watch the battery drop down minute by minute. It'll lose like about 10% battery in 20 minutes. So I've had to invest in a power bank and I have to carry that everywhere, which is super annoying because it's bulky and heavy, and I have to charge my phone at least twice a day always. And I work a full-time job, so no, I'm not just sat there sitting and scrolling on my phone all day. That's just in my bag, like passively in my bag. It loses so much charge that I have to charge it twice a day. But as you can imagine, it just makes filming traditional videos with it a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So when I was drawing this sketchbook spread, I literally have to take a break after drawing every sea creature to charge my phone back to full, because having it on filming all the time just kills it. It's quite annoying. Okay, really sorry for the random rant. Let's go back to talking about the art. Whatever, let me know if you have the same problem with your phone at all. Okay, whatever, let's just go back to talking about the art now. Let's talk about the lobster. So I'm drawing a lobster. After all of this time of saying that I'm going to draw a lobster and then just getting distracted by 3 other random sea creatures, I'm back to actually finally drawing a lobster, and this is like the test lobster. So actually, after I'd had a lot of really good warm-up and experimentation with the colours of those other sea creatures and getting in the groove with the markers and everything, I was more than ready to just go like absolutely hog wild with this one, go hog wild with the colours and just rainbow vomit onto the page. It started off as a red lobster, so the original photo, the reference photo I'm using, it's just a red lobster, but I wanted to just add a little bit of spice, so I started off being like, okay, what if I made the shadows blue? Obviously the shadows are not blue. There's no blue bounce like in this reference image at all, but I thought, let's just add a little bit of blue. And then after I added a little bit of blue, it's like, let's just add a little bit of purple, a little bit of yellow. And then eventually I was adding green and just every single color of the rainbow. So this ended up being a gay pride lobster. Not my initial vision for this. I was just thinking of going quite simple, like orange and blue, classic contrasting colors, color theory moment, but no. Every time I added another color, I was like, this would look better if there was some blue, this would look better if there was some green, some pink, until it just turned into this psychedelic lobster that it looks like if you licked it, you would just start hallucinating. And then at some point, I also went crazy with the red pen because I thought it would look nice if I added little dots as details. And then to my horror, it did look nice, and I was like, oh no, it looks good. That means that I have to add little details on everything, and that's going to be super time consuming. But once I realized that it looked good, I just had to commit. And the next thing that I did is I have this absolutely gorgeous like mint green color marker, which I started using as a rim light, and ooh, this is where it got good, and I was finally like, okay, this doesn't feel like such a mess. Yes, it's colourful, but there is value. It kind of added back that shiny texture that it needed as well, that smooth, glossy, shiny texture, and I think that really brought this piece together, so I was feeling confident going into my cover lobster. Little bit more white dots, white details, white highlights to finish, and that is the finished result. And here is a visual of the finished page, all of the sea creatures together. So now we come to the fun part, which is actually designing the final lobster on the cover of my sketchbook. And look at how suspicious this shape is that I had to draw. It's like, it looks so bad, but this is the shape of a lobster's body with their little tail fins at the bottom with no legs or claws attached. Like, this is genuinely the shape, but it looks so suspicious, it looks so bad. And then I had to add this little segment on the top, which is the head segment, and then it literally just looks even worse. And then I had to add these two things coming out of the top of the shape as well, which is the lobster's whiskers, so it looks even worse. It just looks really, it looks really bad. But once I start adding the legs and the arms and the claws, it looks better. So the next step was to create a base. So I got this light pinky tone, which I was going to use as a base, which I was going to layer all the other colors over the top of. And the theme for this, in my mind, I didn't want to do a rainbow lobster. I wanted to do a kind of like vaporwave, aurora borealis kind of vibe, if you think so, like the pinks and the blues, and the yellow stars, kind of like Van Gogh's Starry Night. Okay, this is the vision. And I'm not gonna lie, you're about to see a massive jump in progress with this, and that's because for a while it was looking so rough. I was like, what am I doing? I'm failing so hard. After I just drew that lobster that I really liked, and I just needed a moment with the cameras off of me. I know when you're filming and there's no one watching you and you've just got the boom arm and the camera, it's out of the way. You're like, oh, it should be normal to draw, it should feel normal, but it still just kind of feels like someone is watching you, like someone is looking over your shoulder. You know, when you're drawing in class or in public and someone comes and just is looking and peering over your shoulder, and you're aware that they know exactly every move that you're making and what you're doing, and that they're judging you, right? So even though the camera is just a camera, I kind of just needed it out of the way for a while, because it just puts this pressure on you and you're like, now I'm just doing it terribly because someone is watching me. So I took the camera off for a little bit and then just went in with the tiny little grabby nibs to add a lot more color range and little dots, and I was really happy with how it's looking, so I decided to turn the camera back on. And then the final thing that I did for this art piece, which really made it pop, was I painted the background black, but I did that off camera because that's super boring. And then look at this finished result. Not to sound big-headed, but I really love this artwork and I'm really happy to have made it. And now every time that I look at my sketchbook, I feel so excited to work in it, because I didn't have faith in the middle of this, but by the end of this, I actually totally love how this turned out. And just getting rid of that green just made me so happy, because I hate that green. And then on the other side of the sketchbook, I just put some stickers on the back as well, just so that it wasn't feeling so lonely, and you know, just to cover up more of the green, obviously. And yeah, here's the finished result. I think the only thing that this is missing is some kind of varnish to make it all shiny and make sure it doesn't get damaged in any way. But the last time that I used varnish, it kind of low-key just smudged the thing that I was working on beneath it, so I feel a bit hesitant to use varnish. If anyone has any good recommendations for the kind of varnish that should go over acrylic and what brand is good and whatever, please just let me know in the comments section, because I think I just need it so that it's shiny. But anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I feel so lucky that you're still here watching this video out of all of the art videos on the platform, so thank you. And if you like it, let me know. It helps the channel so much to have engagement in the form of a thumbs up or a comment. Even if you don't have anything to comment, I always just ask, if you got this far, please comment a star emoji in the comment section. It just helps to boost the engagement. And I hope this video inspired you to maybe get back to sketchbooking if you're not already, and also maybe to design your own sketchbook cover, because this is the first time I've done something like this and it was so much fun. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!